Well, later on this morning, we will be discussing the West Ham side of things with their former defender, Tony Gale. But right now, we are going to very much focus on Everton. And helping us to do that is the host of the Falcon Blues TV, Dave Johnston, who joins us this morning. Dave, good morning.
David.
Morning, Natalie. Morning, Tony. You're all right?
Yeah, David. Obviously, a very difficult scenario has developed at Everton with, off the field and on. If we look at the off the field, that's a longer time solution, which will run and run, I'm sure, with the Evertonians. The short term is staying in the Premier League and Frank Lampard's position. So tell us from your perspective, Dave, how you see it.
I remember having a similar conversation with Natalie around this time last year. And it just seems like Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
Nothing's changed. I mean, let's be honest with the manager. We've had, 3 wins all season. I think it worked out to something like 6 wins in 40 altogether or something like this. It is literally Groundhog Day. It's not good enough, and unfortunately, I think time will be up for Frank Lampard. Nice guy, but I just don't think he's prepared for the Premier League. We saw that, with Chelsea, he wasn't strong enough to cope with big names. And in this situation, he doesn't seem strong enough to cope with relegation battles and struggling teams. So I don't know what the answer is for Lampard as a manager, but under Everton, I think his time will be done. I think we've got to cut and run at the moment and just go and look elsewhere, because it's not working. There doesn't seem to be any way out of it, as you said, and we're rudderless. Otherwise, we need change, and we need it now.
It's funny. When you go back to when Frank Lampard was appointed, I was at that first game because it was my club that was involved in the FA Cup. And you absolutely destroyed us. You were brilliant. 4-1 at Goodison. You won us. You beat us, I should say. And I was so impressed with Everton. The way that you moved the ball, you were zipping it around. You could tell there was a real confidence to the team at that point. Now, you could obviously factor in the new manager bounce, and that could play a massive part. But at that point, I remember thinking, wow, this Everton side are going to go on and do better things. How has it gone so wrong from that point?
I think we've not done the right things in the transfer window. Obviously losing Richarlison to Tottenham was a massive one for us, because he was literally the engine in that team. There's no one in that team that can do what Richarlison did for us. And, the lack of a striker because of financial fair play and everything else, and silly mistakes we go back to off the field decisions and stuff like that, has just hamstrung them so much. He's made signings and things like this, but it's been at the detriment of losing a star player. So when he's having to struggle with, okay, you've got to sell to buy all the time, that's not a good business model, especially for someone with like Everton, who have been given the finances and been given the keys to the kingdom to do whatever they want. And we've just ruined ourselves by not doing the right things. We've not got a striker. We've not got an attacking midfielder. We've not got pace. We've just seemed to have lost that since we lost Richarlison. Losing Calvert-Lewin for the long periods of time as he didn't help him. But then he's relied on Calvert-Lewin being fit rather than actually dipping in and going and getting an accomplished striker. We end up getting Neil Maupay, who's just not cut for it.
Well, he's a very different striker as well, isn't he, to Calvert-Lewin?
Exactly. Yeah, that's it. I mean, sorry, go on.
So I was going to say, Dave, I mean, look, from the outside, and you're looking in at your club, and I'm thinking, well, what's happened and what are the changes? And I totally agree with you on Richarlison has been an issue. I can't recognise Calvert-Lewin. I know he's had loads of injuries, but he just looks unrecognisable to a striker to me. Anthony Gordon, he was the highlight last year of Everton. And I think now I'm seeing him on the subs bench. What has happened to Anthony Gordon? And you're thinking of progression with the coaching. I questioned, the coaching style, because Paul Clement plays a very, like you had yesterday, very possession-based method of playing, which is, got him the Swansea job, and I found it very difficult to watch. And there's lots of scenarios that I think have developed at Everton that obviously coaching has to take the responsibility for.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Tony, because I've looked at it a couple of times where yesterday I could have made 10 subs and he made 2. There's players there that we could have just gone, okay, get on the pitch and do something else. It's not working, change it up. Let's see what we can do. But it's been like that with mad substitute changes, times of changes, and things like that. And I've always found it weird that Lampard's not done anything, but no one from the backroom staff has gone, listen, Frank, this isn't working, mate. You might want to have a word with yourself and change this up. And then saying that in the nicest possible way, especially with someone like Paul Clement, who should be recognising something isn't right here and, making those changes. But is there a stubbornness between the backroom staff and Lampard? Does he think, no, it's going to work, and he's waiting for that all magic button that just changes everything with Everton? But you can't keep going on like this, and I think you're right. Something needs to be questioned within the backroom staff, the coaching and things like that. But we honestly, with Anthony Gordon as well, just going back on the first bit, I don't know. I think as he started to believe his own hype a little bit, did the rumblings about going to Chelsea or Tottenham or wherever turn his head a little bit, and he's got a little bit arrogant with it? I don't know. I don't want to try and question the lad's attitude like that. But I think having to go through the whole relegation battle again can't be good for anyone's confidence, and especially for someone like him who is a confidence player. It's probably on his mind. He's probably struggling like the rest of the team are, but probably him more so, because, as we say, as a local lad, you normally have those issues. You normally end up going, okay, well, he's a nice lad, but it's not for us. It's similar with Tom Davis, local lad that you want to do well, but isn't working out, and he gets the brunt of it. Same with Anthony Gordon, really, as well.
So, Dave, what has to happen next? Because you look at your run of fixtures. There's Arsenal at home at the beginning of February. Then you've got the Merseyside derby. Leeds to come. Villa, Forest, Brentford. I mean, there's no easy game. We always say it's a cliche, but there is no easy game in the Premier League. But it's a tough run of fixtures you've got coming up next. You've mentioned there that it sounds like you've lost faith in Frank Lampard, so maybe it's time for a change. Do you feel, though, the disharmony, the toxicity that we are seeing and hearing about at Everton with the disconnect with the fans and the board, are you worried that, one, you might not attract the right type of manager, and two, I know that the fans have been calling for change in the board, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen anytime soon. Farhad Moshiri has those people around him that he obviously wants to have around him in the board and in the boardroom. Are you worried then, just in general, about who's going to come in and what's next for your club?
That's the $1 million question, isn't it? I think even Farhad Moshiri's scratching his head at that one, with him saying last night, it's not my decision to make. So, well, whose decision is it, mate? Because don't put it on the fans.
Well, he was very quick to put out a statement that he backed him, didn't he? So that was his decision. So it is a bit odd.
Well, that's sort of like your stay of execution, isn't it? You've got like your one more chance sort of thing. But we've got to, if we're being honest, I think we've got to cut our losses with Frank and say thanks for the effort, but it's just not going to work. There was a time where we know Evertonians will probably point back to the Bournemouth week
before Christmas.
Before Christmas, and say, listen, that should have been the week that he was gone, and we were given enough time to get someone in. Who that might be, I don't know. I mean, personally, I would just say now I'm that broken. I've just said sod it and go for Sean Dyche. Mm-hmm. At least you get what you see with him. He makes it a hard to beat side. We'll try and grind out a result, and I think that's what we need to do. But yeah, I think Lampard's time's done. But if Moshiri is prepared to say he doesn't want to sack him, then he's got to give him something. We've had one loan deal that still hasn't gone through, that we're still waiting on, and then who else are we going to bring in? But he's got like a week to bring these players in, and he needs to do it, by the middle of this week, because otherwise we're going to struggle. We are going to, and the only thing I can see at the moment is us going down, and that is on the board. Not either if it's on the board, it's on the manager, it's on the team, it's on everything really. But the fact that we've just been so hamstrung with financial fair play and poor decisions and things like this, it's just going to be. It's going to be a very tricky few months if we don't do anything by the end of this month in the transfer window. We need players. We need new blood within the team, just for Lampard to have something tangible to work with, because this team at the moment just isn't working for him.
And with their rivals all strengthening as well, that's a big issue.
Look, and Sean Dyche is a very viable option, and you know, if they did go that way, but something has to change. I think, when was the best period of time that Everton played their best football, and it was short-lived? It was under Duncan Ferguson. And he hasn't gone into management. He left the club because he wanted to manage. I would give him a short stint. It wouldn't be expensive, and just say, do you know what? Have another go at it. Try and reignite this football club.
I don't think Duncan's the answer.
No.
Not at all.
Well, I'm talking about staying up first and foremost.
No, no, Tony. I don't even think with that. I think with Duncan, it was emotion over. You know, actual results. You know, we were made up that he was in for the game against Chelsea and the Arsenal game, the United game when he came in first time. But you just knew that took so much out of him, that to be the Everton manager, it showed what it takes to be the Everton manager, the emotion that he had. But then you knew that he was just literally drained after those 3 games, you know, the United game, the Chelsea game and Leicester in the Cup. He was done then, and he came back in and he's had another interim spell, and nothing seemed to work for him then. I just don't think Duncan is the answer. And I think we need to move away from that emotional side of choice and start listening with our heads more than anything.
It's a tough time for Everton, certainly. Here's a name I'm just going to throw out to you very quickly. Marcelo Bielsa. He could do a job, couldn't he?
You certainly try.
Bournemouth were interested in it at one stage.
Well, you'd certainly have a different playing style, that's for sure.
Yeah, entertaining, definitely.
Exactly.
I'd get him a bucket. And
look how he transformed Leeds. So it's not a bad shout. I'm just throwing it out there. Maybe someone hinted that.
Do you know
to me,
quickly now? This is really quickly.
Go on.
All it is now, they must make a short-term decision to save their Premier League survival, survive. They must be a short-term. So don't even think long-term at the moment.
Yeah, fair enough. Everton, 19th in the table, 2 points off safety. All is not lost, of course, but only 3 wins. That's the fewest amount of victories in the Premier League. Okay, Dave, thank you so much for joining us this morning. I'm sorry we aren't talking about more positive circumstances with Everton, but always great to chat to you. That was Dave Johnston then from the Falcon Blues TV.